The call to the member for Hume.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Prime Minister. The Courier Mail today reveals that more than 43% of Queensland households are facing mortgage stress. But the Treasurer says that housing serviceability for mortgage holders has improved. Does the Prime Minister believe it is now easier for Australian households to service their mortgages?
I give the call to the Prime Minister.
Speaker, I thank the Shadow Treasurer for his question, and I say that there's more than one group of people who need to listen, because he obviously hasn't listened to what the Treasurer has made very clear, which is he's made very
Hume
clear
has asked his question.
that we understand that there are pressures on cost of living, and that is why the measures that we have put in place have been aimed at alleviating the pressure on cost of living without putting further pressure on inflation. That's why we designed the Energy Price Relief Plan in the way that we did, which will take 0.75% off the inflation rate according to Treasury and the Reserve Bank. That's why we prioritised cheaper childcare, which will boost workforce participation of women and boost productivity. That's why we're addressing supply chain issues through fee-free TAFE. 180,000 delivered, 300,000 to come, opposed by those opposite and seen as wasteful spending. We regard this as an investment that will boost productivity, that will boost the economy whilst not putting pressure on inflation. It's why we have a policy to assist households with cheaper medicines, already delivering substantial amounts through our measures on January 1, but more to come. It's why we have our three-point plan to deal with inflationary pressures, including dealing with supply chain issues through our creation of the National Reconstruction Fund, opposed by those opposite. It's why we're dealing with skills shortages through the creation of Jobs and Skills Australia, opposed by those opposite, like they oppose fee-free TAFE. This government is determined to make a difference to people, and it contrasts with those opposite who sat by and watched Robo-Debt and the evidence that came amongst some of the most vulnerable. Melanie, who appeared at the Commission, said this: "I had to sell everything I could sell just to get a little bit by. I had to go to the Salvation Army for the first time ever in my life, and it was quite degrading. It made me feel like I was a criminal."
The Prime Minister will pause. The Minister for Climate Change and Energy is not helping. I'll hear from the member for Hume on a point of order.
Mr Speaker, relevance. These comments have absolutely nothing to do with mortgage serviceability, which is what the question.
The question was about Queenslanders experiencing mortgage stress. The Prime Minister is being relevant. I'm going to listen for the remainder 30 seconds. By talking about people under mortgage stress and the impacts, I'm listening to what he says for the remainder 30 seconds to make sure he is relevant.
There was evidence also given from Anne Julie, who was in a position of living in a refuge. What she had to say was this: "When I got my robo-debt, I was pregnant and living in a refuge in Canberra after escaping domestic violence. I was working 3 jobs to stay afloat. Because of this debt, I was unable to afford medication and was hospitalised." That's the position that those opposite sat by year after year, even after they were warned. No compassion, no care.
Concluded.